Welcome once again to your update from the city of New Hope. Have a chance again to talk with the mayor, Kathi Hemken, to find out what's new in the city and what might be coming up. Mayor, welcome today. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm just fine. I love this warm weather.
Yes, we will take it. Melting that snow, and you're going to enjoy some of the discussions about spring and even summertime activities in the city of New Hope. Let's begin in community development. Update residents on a few businesses that are looking for some land use. Tell us a little bit about the businesses and what they're considering.
Well, Paul Bunyan Plumbing and Wind Supply, both of them wanted outdoor storage. And so to do that, they have to apply to the city to get a conditional use permit. And that goes through the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission approved both of those, and then it'll go to the City Council to get approved. But they want to store some stuff outside. And of course, there's some requirements for that storing.
We've been talking a little bit about the Joint Airport Zoning Board and opportunities for residents to find out a little bit more. What information is available at City Hall and what's the date we need to remember?
So they've got the ordinance more or less, the draft ordinance more or less done. And you can go into City Hall now and look at it. It's at the front desk if you'd like to. If you'd rather see the whole presentation, it's going to be at the Crystal Community Center on the 23rd. And that's the one on Douglas and 48th. So you can go there and look at that. And then after the public gets to look at it, then they'll, our city and Crystal and the other cities around it will vote to approve it.
And again, if you want more information about that event and the location, you can go to the city's website, newhopemn.gov. Next, safe routes to school, something, again, we've talked about a little bit, and these things take time. Bring us up to date, if you would, and tell us when the work will actually happen.
So this safe routes to school is a way to make it easier and safer for the kids at Meadow Lake. Meadow Lake is on a real busy intersection. And so we got a grant to do that work, but we want to do at the same time they're going to do some other construction. And because it's right on the Brooklyn Park border, we want to make sure it's coordinated with everybody. So even though we've got the grant, the work won't start until 2027. But they'll have it well planned out and they'll let the neighbors know what's going on and what's going to happen as we get closer to that date.
Another item that happens on a regular basis in the city, on a quarterly basis, in fact, is property meetings with some of the rental managers. One happened recently. Mayor, why do these occur and what were some of the topics that were covered?
Well, they happen quarterly. And what they do is they bring in the property managers of the various apartment buildings, and they talk about all the problems and all the wonderful solutions each of the property managers have, and they just share information. Well, this last one was about from Home Safe, and they brought these Home Free, I'm sorry, and they brought them in to talk about that, and that's about domestic violence. So a lot of the properties are interested in that. And so there was a good program. There were like 22 apartment managers there for that meeting. So we really have a good turnout, and it's once a quarter and it's well advertised.
And as we hit this late winter, early spring timeframe of each year, it's time that the city looks at a state of the city presentation. A few different thoughts about that this year. Let us know what is going on, Mayor.
Well, many years ago, like 5, we would do it with the business networking group after that their meeting. Well, then COVID came and we were doing it in front of a screen and then recording it. Well, this year now we decided instead of doing it with the business networking group, we're going to actually come into the studios with you, Dave, and do the state of the city. So that we'll probably record that sometime in late February, and then it'll be online and you can look at it both at our website and on yours on CCX, and you'll be able to see. It'll probably be 15, 20 minutes maybe. But it's kind of fun to see what's happening in the city and all the great stuff that had been going on and where we're going from here.
All right, more to come on that. Scattered site housing, we have one update today at 5802 Boone, a house we've been watching. What's the latest progress there?
You know, it all takes time, a lot of time. So the house is pretty much boarded up, but because it was a foreclosure, it had to go to a sheriff's sale. And then there was lots of loans on the property. So then the bank has to look at it. So now we had to issue a point of sale inspection, which means we'll go in and inspect all the numerous things that need to be done with that. We give that to the bank because the bank is the owner of that property now, and the bank will decide whether or not they want to fix that house up, which I highly doubt they do, or they'll sell it to the city. So we're getting closer. All this takes time, and I would guess before the end of the summer, I'm guessing the house is going to be gone.
All
I
right.
hope.
Business Networking Group. This is a group that meets on a pretty regular basis. They've got a meeting scheduled now for early in the month of March. Where is that? It's at a great community location.
It is. It's March 1st. It's going to be at St. Therese. I've talked about this before, and we weren't sure where it was going to be. Part of the deal was St. Therese, of course, is very careful about who's in the building. But I think they've got a room that we can just kind of meet in there. So we'll be at St. Therese, and that's at 8:30 in the morning. We're still looking for somebody for the April meeting. And people should know that they can always have it at City Hall if they don't have a big enough facility. It's not a big deal to host it, but you get to talk about your business for a little bit longer than when we just go around the table. So if you're interested, call Jeff Alger or Brandon Bell at the city, and they'll get you set up for that April meeting. And that meeting would be a 2:00 meeting.
All right. And you can get their information again through the city's website, newhopemn.gov. Couple items under building permits and inspections. The first is Patagus. We've talked about this a few times. They continue to look at some things they'll need for that property. What are they working on now?
Well, Patagus used to be Paddock Industries. It's on, I believe, Oregon and about 39th. It's a big business in New Hope. So now they're doing some structural stuff that we're looking at. So everything they do, of course, it has to come through the city planning department to make sure that it's meeting all our ordinances and all our requirements. We're just excited that they want to stay in New Hope, and they're going to be expanding.
And another under building inspections permits is Park Ridge Way Apartments. They've been doing some work, I understand, on the outside of their building.
They have, because it's an apartment building, we go in and do inspections. And when we find things that need to be done, we let them know that they need to be done. Well, apparently some of the balconies needed a little bit of fixing. So when they fix one, they just look at all of them. So now they're all approved. So that I'm sure that the residents, they'll be happy. And of course, the city's happy that that got done.
Let's move ahead to the police department, provide residents with a few updates. And as always, police department very busy getting out and engaging with the community. And it sounds like meal deliveries continue on.
They do. A couple officers went out and they delivered Meals on Wheels. And of course, the people that are receiving those meals are thrilled that they're there.
Also, some folks coming into the police department and engaging with the officers there. Some young, very interested people, I would guess, from the Scouts.
Well, I want to make sure that people understand this. The Boy Scout troop came to the police department and they wanted a guided tour. And so one of our officers did that. But, we open that up to any troop like that, or a senior group that wants to come in, or the Girl Scouts, or just about anybody. They'll give them a nice little guided tour. They get to see the jails and where we photograph people and where we store the guns and all that fun stuff that kids like to see. So if you're interested in doing that, it's really nice for a merit badge with the Scout troops.
Yeah.
All they have to do is call the police department and get that scheduled.
Chief Hoyt getting together with other chiefs and some others from the area to have some discussions. Tell us about that ongoing partnership.
Well, my police chief, Chief Hoyt, always does stuff with Crystal and Robbinsdale. So those three are always together, and they are doing something called the Joint Committee Police Partnership Planning Meeting, and they're doing that with Hennepin County. So it's really nice because the three cities are so interconnected, and we respond to each other's calls, the 911 calls, that it's nice that they're talking to each other and planning stuff together.
Couple other items from police. You may have seen the barrel sitting out in front in the entryway to the police department for food drop off. Well, Mayor, it sounds like many people dropped off and you had a very nice delivery going to the food shelf.
Now, first of all, thank you to all the people that drop off food. We dropped off 300 pounds to Near. Near is the food shelf we typically go to. And if you remember, Near services everybody north of 42nd. And south of 42nd is serviced by Prism. But of course, if you need food, you can go to either of them and get food. It's just that, they have to make the line drawn somewhere, and that's where it is. So thank you for all the people that dropped off some food. 300 pounds is a lot of food.
That is fantastic. Here's another item from the police department, something you might not know about, something called the Crime Prevention through Environmental Design Site Survey. This happened recently with Officer Callio. Tell us more about what that involves, if you know what that involves. Sounds pretty fancy.
I have no idea what that involved, but I do know that they came to Ironwood Apartments to do it. I'm guessing that they want to make sure that we use codes, or they're going to use fobs, I believe now. We have to have some security getting in the building so that people can't just come in and go through the parking lot, if you will, or into the building. If people that are living there want to feel safe, and this is just one way to feel safe.
Let's hop over to Public Works, and you're going to enjoy the list of things that they're up to these days. And you call them what? The handyman of the city? Is that right?
I do. If you think of all the things that a handyman would do in a home or in an apartment building, that's what these guys in Public Works do. Not only are they plowing the streets and doing all that stuff that we see visible, but some of the stuff was really cute, I thought. They're cleaning up floor drains at the police department. They're cleaning out the sanitary sewer inputs, like you would clean out a drain, if you will. They were doing water sampling for phosphate. They also, I thought this was kind of cute. They installed a shelf at City Hall. So they are, in fact, our handyman of the city.
Wherever they're needed. And some of the management areas within Public Works to mention: submitted the Homeland Security Emergency Management Tier 2 report. And that has to do with some things that they might come across in the city and use on a regular basis.
Well, we have reports that we have to do all the time because they're mandated by us. And that's what our management team is doing. So you think they're not doing anything. They're managing all this other stuff. They have to write the reports out and submit them, and they have a time frame that they have to be submitted in it. So they're busy little beavers over there.
And you mentioned the sewer system, and they also have a report they have to put in, a survey about sewer use. So again, they take a look at everything.
Well, we get charged for how much sewage we have. And one of the things that happens is we get infiltration of water because of the roots that come into the sewer system. And when they measure how much sewage we're using or sending out, they measure the total amount, not just the actual sewage. So of course, with that, they have to check to where there might be leaks in the sewer system. And what they do then is they televise the sewer system, and then they clean it out, and then they line it. And this lining, they put this lining in, and it cures in place. And what that does is it keeps all the rainwater and surface water out of the sewer system, and it reduces the amount, it's called I&I. It reduces the amount of infiltration and infill that comes into the sewer system. So we're constantly gauging what's going in and going, that seems like a lot right now. So it's very complicated, and it's all underground, and most of us push that button on the toilet and everything just goes away.
Right.
Well, somebody's watching out how much is going away.
They are busy with that. Another thing that they work on is the job hazard analysis worksheet. So again, a lot of things happening behind the scenes within Public Works on a regular basis. Let's hop over to Park and Rec. And again, we're going to mention a few things that might get you interested for spring and summer here. But first, let's take a look back. We had some golfers out in the snow. Yes, it was in the snow. And I understand it was a big, big winter golf event.
Well, it was on the 4th of February, and we tried this last year, and we had a few people out there, maybe 40, 50. Well, this year, the weather was perfect. The snow was perfect. There was over 100 people there.
Wow.
And so they had an axe throwing contest. They were using axes with Velcro on them. And they were serving chili and hot dogs and cider outside and selling adult beverages inside, all this while they're golfing. So it was a very big event, and it's kudos to not only the people that are running the course, but the people in the park department that were doing a lot of the work too. So thank you to all of them. And it was just a fun event. Hopefully we'll have wonderful weather, and I'm hoping we'll do it again.
Yeah, it'll probably be back for sure. March community gym scheduling. So now is the time that we're looking ahead already into March and springtime to schedule that gym.
Well, the gym is the one that's connected to Cooper High School, and the deal is Cooper uses it during the day and we use it on weekends and in the evenings. Well, we have to schedule that and we have to hire gym attendants to make sure that the right people are in the gym and not people that shouldn't be there are there. And if you want to rent the gym, and there's a batting cage there too. So if you want to rent any of that, you go through our park and rec department to do that. So that all takes a lot of scheduling to make sure that they're not overlapping and the right people are in there when they're supposed to be in there.
How about softball umpires? It looks like that's a need right now, and the city is searching for people that might want to help out in that way.
They are. They're looking for adult softball umpires at the moment. Now, I don't know if the umpires are the adults or the umpires are being the umpires for adults. Not sure which, but I know that we get umpires for the kids too. So you can go online, it'll tell you what you're signing up for. It's a great summer job for college kids or even adults that just want something fun to do.
You bet. And also looking ahead to the spring and summer, is the city looking at rental of some of the facilities in the city? So Mayor, again, now is the time. If people are interested in having some type of gathering in a park, they should contact the city.
Well, you can always go to a park and use the pavilions. However, if you want to make sure that it's going to be available to you and there won't be other people there, you actually have to schedule it and rent it. The rent isn't very expensive, but at least you know that you've got it for the time frame that you want it for. So there's also our theater that's available to rent. And of course, the pavilions at all the parks are available too.
All right, let's go ahead to the golf course again. You mentioned the winter golf tournament, but they are turning their heads to spring as well. What kind of things do they have to do at this time of the year to start to get that golf course ready for some play when the snow's gone?
Well, Mark Severson, who was running the golf course and the ice arena, was working so many hours, and he should have been given an assistant, if you will, somebody that just does the golf course. We had one, but we lost the person, and now we just hired another one. So there's a new guy in town, and he will be running the golf course, and his name is Ricky. So Ricky's been busy organizing the shop out and back, making sure the equipment is all oiled and ready to go, sharpening blades, just cleaning out stuff, organizing stuff the way he wants it organized. So he's been busy out there since he started a few weeks ago. So hopefully he's making some progress. I haven't dared go out and see what's going on out there yet.
I'm sure the sparks are flying from sharpening everything. Meanwhile, Mark is spending a lot of time over at the ice arena. That is a busy place. Give us a look at the variety of things that are happening there on a regular basis.
Well, of course, the high school kids play there, the boys and the girls. The boys had their senior night last week, and so that's a big game for them, the varsity and the JV, the junior varsity. Now, this week, the girls will be playing, the high school girls will be playing, and I think it's either Tuesdays or Thursdays, but you can go online and see when they are. Those are really fun games to watch. Sometimes they charge a couple bucks to get in, but it's really fun to watch them. And of course, the youth hockey is practicing and they've got all their games. And then there's open skating, of course, on Fridays and Sundays. But I do warn people, you have to check to see if there's a tournament going on or there's a game going on. So just go online and check to see if there'll be open skating on Friday and Sunday.
Great advice. Aquatic park, time to start thinking about that park, both from two ways: staffing, and I understand some people are really anxious here and buying some passes.
They are. Well, last year we had 90 part-time people working at the pool. So the pool was a really big deal. I believe we had 49,000 people coming through the pool last year. So it's a big, busy place to be. Well, of course, we need to hire them. So what we've done is we send letters out to the ones we had last year to see what we can get back. We not only need lifeguards, but we need people working in the concessions. We need attendants. So now we're in the process of hiring ones that weren't there last year, sending out letters, or if you're interested in doing that again, contact Park and Rec or go online and you can see where the job application is. Apply and you'll be interviewed and you might have a job for the summer. And I heard they sold a few season passes already. Now, this is a good time to remind those grandparents that wouldn't it be fun for Easter to give them a gift certificate. It doesn't have to be
Great.
for the whole summer, but just a small gift certificate. They can use that to buy their pass for the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought,
Yeah.
but you have to go into City Hall and you have to get it through City Hall, and you'll get a piece of paper that says it's a gift certificate for those grandkids, just to help defer the cost a little bit.
Yep, for the pool or some of the programs, many things that are happening through Park and Rec. One final Park and Rec note. The warming houses, I understand the days are numbered for those fine places. I'm looking at what, February 20th, is that correct?
It is, this is a happy and a sad thing.
Right.
I'm happy because that means winter's just about over, and that old groundhog, we saw his shadow. So we're just about over. That's the happy part. The sad part is it's a short season, and it'd be nice if you could skate longer. Well, you actually can skate. It's just that the warming houses will not be open. So they'll have the lights on in the evenings. I don't know how long they're going to keep their lights on, but after the 20th of February, the warming houses will be closed.
All right, good to know. A couple final notes to pass along in our update with Mayor Hemken. Human resources within the city. It sounds like a few things happening with staffing in the police department. If you can bring us up to date on those items.
Well, typically what happens when we have a job in the city, we have to post it internally. And then if we have two qualified candidates, we can take one of those if we choose. If not, we can go externally. Well, I'm going to read this. The evidence technician position, we did not have two qualified candidates, so that went outside, and we got 65 applications for that. So now they'll sort through those, and they'll be interviewing a few of those. But if you applied, you'll probably get a letter that says, hooray, come in, and we want you for an interview, or thank you very much for applying. So thank you very much for applying if you did, all 65 of you.
And then there's also a officer position, and it sounds like this is going through some of that same process.
So now we're in the process of posting it internally, and somebody says, well, who would sign it internally? Well, probably somebody that's maybe I don't know, a junior officer or community service officer, or somebody that we have that might not be a sworn officer. So if we have two eligible candidates, we'll probably take one of them. If not, then we'll post it externally. So we haven't gotten to the external posting yet, but we probably will if we don't have the two candidates.
Okay, very good. And just a quick update related to the city manager recruitment process. How is that moving along?
Oh, that takes forever. So what they've done now is they've written up the application form and all the requirements for the city manager. And that got reviewed by staff. And tonight is the 12th of February. Tonight, the city council will look at it. And then once that's approved, then it'll be sent out to just everybody. They sent it to the League of Minnesota Cities. They sent it to various cities around the state. There's places that they can post it. So it'll be posted all over the place. And then we'll start getting I hope getting applications for it. And then what'll happen is this firm that we've hired will sort through those applications, and then we'll start interviewing. I believe the interviewing is going to be done sometime in early May.
Okay.
And then hopefully we'll have somebody hired by the 1st of June. And then our city manager, the temporary one, Tim Hoyt, will stay with that city manager to just kind of get them orientated. And then he will start backing out, and the person we hire will just take over. So more to come on that. We'll let you know how that's going. It's a very lengthy process, but that's okay. We know we'll get somebody good, whoever it is.
Final note to pass along here. And again, we want to mention the city's website, newholtmn.gov, place you can find out lots of information about the city. And one of the things you'll find out there right now is about Highway 169 and 42nd Avenue and some of the bridge work that is coming up. What can you tell us about that process and where we are right now?
Well, it's really kind of complicated. So you should go look at the website.
Okay.
What used to be clover leaves there are now some other entry and exit off of 169 and onto 169. So if you're interested, if you live in the area, go look and see what's being done. It'll also give you a time frame of when that's going to be done and how you can get onto 169 or off of 169, not using Rockford Road. We tried to ask them to change Rockford Road to 42nd Avenue, and they're going, nah, I don't think so. So keep in mind that Rockford Road and 42nd, as far as I'm concerned, are the same place, but MnDOT seems to think it's Rockford Road.
Got it. All
Just
right.
so if that's what they're posting, that's what they're talking about, is what we think of as 42nd.
All right. Go to the city's website. You can read up all about that process, and stick with us here for just a second. We've got some other things coming up in the city that we're going to pass along that you might want to get involved in. Mayor Hemken, thanks once again for your time. Have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon.
Well, thanks, Dave. See you next week.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.